This is Ron Fallis again. This training video is about how to create a test in Moodle using the test banks that are loaded there. It was the presumption that instructors would want to customize their own tests. The habit has been simply to set up ones that were already created. Usually when I was teaching the program and creating tests. It's my hope and wish that at some point instructors would make up their own tests or modify tests that are there. To that end, though, if you have an interest in this video will show you how you would create a test. I might also look a bit at how to put questions into a test bank, but at this point that's been an activity that has been left to heart to do. Now, we're in the Law Clerk program again because they are using Acme now, and we won't be interfering with the activities in classrooms. But they had originally used Moodle, and so it's set up, and it makes it easy to illustrate using this particular website. I've gone to the Legal Office Procedures course because it has a variety of different questions you can look at, that we can look at, and I can explain as we go along. Now, in order to make modifications to Moodle, one has to have editing permission, and for doing tests, a regular instructor or an administrator can do that, and we would then see everything you see here, including this part that says turn editing. It's set off right now because I guess I left it on from the last video I did, but as you see when I click it, it goes back to there being no editing icons. If we go back up to where we were before and turn editing on, it actually can be done here or it can be done up here. In any case, when you turn the editing on, you'll see, as I've said before, you can use these icons to modify documents, but you can also then create or upload documents in these places, as well as links and other things we call activities. Now, a test is an activity. And so if we were to go to the last day, let's say we wanted to do another final test, you'll see that we have this add an activity drop-down menu, and you have quite a selection of things. What we're looking at today is this. Tests or exams are all called quizzes, so you'll see the word quiz in this system. If you click on that, then you can start working on your new test. And since it's day 10, it would be final test, and well, whatever title you want to give so you can identify it for your class, Legal Office Procedures, February intake, let's say. Okay, so now we want to set up when we open the test, and I've gone through this with you before. Let's say we wanted to make it for the Friday, and we open it up for that, and we want to have it open up at, we'll make it the usual time, 9, we'll make it a little later, 9:30, and we want it to be open until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Whoops, my mistake, that would be 1400 because it's military time. And let's say we want to give them 120 minutes, a couple of hours to do it. And we leave these first and second attempts alone. Do we want to shuffle questions? Let's say we do. Shuffle within questions. Maybe we say no. Attempts allowed. We're only going to let them have one attempt. And that means we should say no to adaptive mode because they only get one shot. I mean, they can go in and change their answers while they're still in the test. Once they close the test, once they've made an attempt on answers, that's it. And when they happen to answer an individual question and they get it wrong, the system doesn't allow them to, I mean, they wouldn't know, but it wouldn't allow them to know that they got it wrong and take another shot at it. I'm really against providing them with instant feedback by the system because, again, during the time of the test taking, there shouldn't be feedback on the answers given by anybody for purposes of test security. So I always remove those. And it's always good, of course, to have a password. And you make up whatever you want, something that would make sense for what you're doing. So we're in February, so since it's the month for Valentine's, we'll put in HERT, heart. There you go. And you can hide that, or you can find it again. And that's what you'll be giving to the students when they go to log in. And we don't need to use these other settings. Now, save and display. Okay, you'll see here that there's nothing over here. That's where your questions will go. And your questions, once they're put over here, will be the test that you're building and the students will take. So at this point, we need to find the questions we want to move over. Now, there's these categories. If I click on this, there we go, you'll see that there are different categories of final test and first test. We, of course, want the final test questions. And we'll see if anything's changed at all here. And so these are all final test questions that we have. And you'll see that we have invisible to you is a little control panel. I'm just moving over here. Now, we can have them, you'll see, on 6 different pages. If you want to see all the questions on one page, then you can click there. Now, the types of questions are indicated by a symbol on this side. And this symbol is matching. So that means that you, when the type of question is one that you have to match one selection on one side with something that corresponds with it on the other side. You also have, you'll see here, a symbol that represents multiple choice. As you go down, you'll see these are basically one-word answers, fill the blank. They call it short answer, but that's confusing because students don't choose how to answer, except to the extent that they have to write in the one word and spell it correctly. It's not really a good type of question for a lot of types of material, but in this particular course, we found it useful. These double dots are true-false. Okay, you can see you have two options, true or false. And so there's all your questions, and you will decide two things. One, Now, how many of what type of question do you want, and then what specific question you want. You can ask it to create a random question, so you would just ask for that. How many questions do you want, and you can let it create it that way. But quite often, someone's putting a test together will want to think carefully about the questions and how good the questions are given the material, or you might even, if you're customizing a test for a particular class, feel that you've emphasized some things more than others and you have some idea what questions would work the best. Now, how do you know what you want? Well, here are some icons here. This one actually deletes it from the list. We don't want to do that. This one we will move it up and down the list, but I have it organized the way I want it. This allows me to edit the question if there's something wrong with it. Maybe it needs to be updated, a law or the name of an act has changed or something, to take the question from one that wouldn't work to one that would. This allows you to look at the question. And so we preview it, and you'll see it opens up, and there we are. This allows us to preview the question. And so this is what the students would see. And here's a statement, another one, 3, 4 statements. And then they will have 4 choices as to which one matches it. So you might wonder what the answer is. Well, you can fill it with the correct answers. And so now you can examine the question and see what you think of it. Of course, you could have tried it yourself to see if you got it right. But this then, these are different descriptions of different parts of a document. And in this case, affidavits and how they should be formatted. And you'll see the description for each one best matches a particular part of the document. Okay, so there you go. You can decide what you think of that question. If you decide you like it, then you would click and pa-pa, there you go. It's in the list. So let's say, for example, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You wanted to do 4 of these. Well, we could have, well, let's put this back. Da-da-da-da. We could have picked every other one if we liked every other one. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you would come down here and go add the selected ones over here. And there you go, there's your 4. Now we have quite a few multiple choice. And we've got 1, 2, 3. Well, let's say we did every other one there too. And that's my cat, my apologies. You'll see I'm working my way down here. And now, of course, this procedure is really semi-random here. I'm not really looking at each question. I'm just trying to move along so I can show you how the process works. But once we've selected the ones we want, then we'll be able to add the selected ones. And yes, this can be a very slow, monotonous process, especially when you have a lot of questions. Now, these are probably way too many questions for a typical test, but this little bit of description you have with them also helps you choose, because it should tell you a little bit about what the nature of the question is without having to go in and preview it. So here we go. I'm almost done. Got the last one. Now we add all of those. Boom. And now you have this big awesome test. And if you look at it, I like it for the sake of the students that they do one type of question, then another. It is helpful for them to decide which part of the test to work on first and second. And I always advise them that they may be better at recognition type tests, which is multiple choice and true false and matching, or they might be better, according to how their mental processes work, might do better working on well, we don't have short answers here, but perhaps well, these are all really recognition type, but it still follows that they may want to do certain types of questions in a certain order. Now, the total here, because it just took every other one, shows 58 marks, because each of these true, false, multiple choice, or whatever, or matching, all have 1 point value to them. And so there's 58 of those questions. If you had a short answer, or true, I should say an essay type question, then you would have assigned the right weight of marks to it, and then it would be like 4 or 6 in here, and your total then would be shown here still. Now, maximum grade, if, for example, what they're getting is a test that's worth 45% of their final grade, you might decide that their maximum grade should be 45. So it'll convert the grade that they get out of 58 to out of 45 for you. Now, I believe I set the test so that it shows so many questions per page. Hopefully I did. We'll go back and check that. So we'll show the page breaks, and we may then have to go, it says unlimited, we'll go 3 per page. And there you go. Now it shows what the break is per page. And there you go. Now, sometimes you put in a number and when you do something like that, you lose it. So we'll make sure we put that back and we save our changes. So now we've created our test. And if you go to your main page, you'll see it there. It's really the way out of here. So we'll go back to our main page for the course, and we put it in 10. So we'll see it down there. There it is. You click on that, and we want to preview, and we must remember the password. Thank God we used something that would be easy to remember. There you go. For a moment I thought I messed it up. And there it is. And students will go through it 1 page at a time if they want, or any particular page they want to go to. And here's a sample of our matching question. So legal magazines and other law field newsletters and small papers sometimes advertise for legal office assistants. And we have to choose which type of resource that most likely connects to. And it's always good to tell students that sometimes you work your way through by doing those things that you know are obviously correct, reducing your options for your other ones, making it easier to make a final selection on ones you're not sure of. So these are resources for seeking out available jobs. So a general letter sent to numerous potential employers indicating your interest. They're not job specific. So what were our choices again? Broadcast letters. Based on knowledge of business expansions, company relocations, social trends. I would say field journals. And legal magazines on it. Oh, well, maybe I would have tried field journals. Well, there you go. I created this question, and I'm having a hard time getting the right answer. But it might be field journals, and that would leave us with the last choice. Newspaper classified ads. Okay, so your students would then go through this, and then they would do their submit all and finish. Okay, so I've put together a test for you. You'll notice that there was a clock up there that would have told me the amount of time remaining. So that is good for the students, provided they actually look at it. Okay, now in a related activity, I'm going to close this out. I think we have closed it out. And I want to show you something else here. We can now access that test either down in 10, where we had it, right? Or back up here, as we've seen before, where it says quizzes. And you'll see it's right here. And it should really show this. Oh, 10 has 2 tests. So, if we go back in here, we have other things we can do. In Edit, we were looking at the questions in the quiz, but what about the question bank? And, you know, as I showed you before, you can see all questions on one page or so many per page. What if you wanted to add a question? Well, to do that, you want to know which category you're putting it in. And we had default for the final. We'll just switch to the first test for now, for the fun of it. And when we want to create a new question, we go in here. You choose the type of question. And there's a number of these here that, quite frankly, I haven't had a need to use. We mostly use multiple choice, and we use short answer. Now, short answer, I should mention, is just a one-word one. So we don't use that a lot. The student has to get the right word and spell it correctly to get the right answer. So essay ends up being a real short answer question in the sense that it allows the person to answer the question in their own words. But here it's labeled essay, even though they may be able to answer the question for you correctly. You're only looking for a few words, but you let them word it the way they wish. But an essay, it can be long or short, but it is a short or long written response by the student in their own, what shall we say, their own text they create in hopefully sensible prose form. and they do that, and you manually grade it. So we have a question name, and if you remember how the questions looked like, there was a middle section that described the question, and you know, we've worked with different ways of doing that. Sometimes if it's a short text question, you might put that as the question name, just to help you identify when you're looking at a list of questions what the question actually is. If not, you can put in a few words that identify that question and distinguish it from other ones. So you might decide that it should be, let's see, in this course it might be something like file management. And then you put in your question, and that could be anything like are the 5 main principles in, whoops, see, isn't it good that you have autocorrect here in managing files in a law office. And it's very simple. And you can put in, and for the sake of it, I usually put it in both what the answer is. I don't want to generate one of those at the moment. But if you have your questions and answers already in text form, you block, copy, and paste into the right spots. And then you just simply save your changes. And now we've added a new question. And since it was a baloney question, I'm going to get rid of it. But you'll see, unlike other ones, it came up as a box, which shows that it is an essay type question. If you wanted to create a multiple choice, and you click there, and now you'll see this is set up differently for obvious reasons. And it's a little more complicated, but not too complicated. Okay, so we'll go file management again. Not a print of file. And so you're going to give it a, well, I forgot to mention that there's the grade value in the other question. You have to put that in. They always default to 1, and that's fine for multiple choice. Now you have to have, what do you want them, like ABC, 1, 2, 3, we'll leave it here. Your answer, you'll need a number of answers. Let's say you're going to have 4 potential answers. And let's see, what was my question? What is not a principle of file management? And we can put in whatever we want. Caveat emptor is not, and so if you choose that, you get a grade of none. Another answer might be Mount Washington, which is not a correct answer. You might have a correct answer, although I'm struggling to think of one off the top of my head, but it might be that you put files in closed out file storage after all work is done on the file. Okay. Now, since it's going to get all of the 1 mark, and it's the only right answer, then we would put in 100%. I find you can usually just hit 1 and it'll pop there. There you are. And we wanted to have a 4th possible answer, one of the wrong ones, and just come up with anything here. To do is to be. Okay. Or to be is to do. Or do. So, that's all the ones we're going to have in here. We save the changes, and it seems to work. And we can find out where it is because it lights up the last one you did. And so when we preview it, it will look like this. And there's your answers. You would expect the students to click on this one. If we fill with correct, you'll see the system is working. We close preview. It's a garbage question, so we'll get rid of that right away. It was only just for display, and it really wants to know if I want to get rid of it. And there you go. And so that's how you put questions into this bank. And of course, because there's 114 plus 108, it took me a long time to put all the possible available questions I could make up or find in other resources into the system. But it provides a lot of options to the instructor when making a test. Although, the whole idea is to make it possible for someone who truly wants to take some time to carefully create a test that they feel is the educationally correct one for that class at that time. So now I guess just to be reasonably organized, we'll find our way out of here. Back to here, and there you go. That is the third of the training videos that relate to tests, building them, setting them up. Actually, there's also grading them and also adjusting the test banks, adding to them. Okay, thank you very much.